Update. My first daughter isn't mine biologically. Original post. I'm sorry, but this is a long read. While I was in college, I was paired with a very peculiar roommate. She didn't talk to me much and would always be away. She was very clean and organized, and I thank the heavens for it because all of my friends complained about their roommates, and I had gotten lucky. Jump 2 years later, she comes up to me to say that she is pregnant and may need some help from me. I asked who the father was, but she said it was a random guy she hooked up with and she couldn't even find him anymore. When I asked about her family, she said that she didn't have one. Her entire family was gone and she had been in foster homes most of her life. It only got out because she wasn't underage anymore. After that talk, she didn't say anything else. I noticed that she had strange patterns. She would wake up and leave super early and get back super late. The only times she asked me for my help while pregnant was when she went to discover the sex of the baby and to accompany her to one appointment which was a bit away from campus. Even then, we didn't talk much. She kept her routine and I kept mine. Sure, she was pregnant, but she acted like she wasn't. And to be honest, there wasn't much I could do anyway. She didn't slow down even when she got near her end of the pregnancy, and I'm sure this played a huge part in how things ended. She was 7 months pregnant and asked me to take her to the doctor because she was feeling a lot of pain. She was weird during the entire ride, talking nonsense. She said she wanted me to care for the baby and to never tell the baby about her. At this point, I was freaking out. This wasn't supposed to happen, so I was just agreeing to whatever she was saying. When we got to the hospital, they took her straight to be examined and later to have a C-section. Apparently, she had preeclampsia and her placenta was detached. At this point, I called a few friends of mine because I was freaking out. The doctors gave me some medicine because my blood pressure was very high and I was having a panic attack. I don't remember that part, but that's what they told my friends when they got there. Later, I learned that my roommates had died because of the birth, but the kid was alive. They said that they found a note on her belongings saying that I was the one who was supposed to care for the kid because she had no one else and didn't want her daughter to be raised by strangers like she was. I was so confused at the time. They said they would have to contact child services and I would have to file for adoption. This was at a weird time, or maybe the city was just messed up, because they only checked my background and if I had a job at a place to fall back on. And that was that. They just gave me a baby. I didn't think twice about it, because apparently the note that the roommates had left was a big thing and should be taken into account. They gave me the note to read and I wasn't supposed to ever tell the kid about her real mom. After a lot of time thinking, I came up with the idea to investigate her alongside my friends, which wasn't much since we were a bunch of idiots in college with not a lot of money. We could only find out that she was a night worker, and that nobody knew her much around college aside from a girl who was also a night worker and gave us the info. My friends told me to make up a pregnancy and have my parents care for the kid while I was in college. I'm not sure my parents ever bought the whole story, but they did love the kid and accepted to take care of her. The story was basically me getting pregnant on accident and not telling them because I was ashamed, but coming back around because I realized that I needed help. 19 years later, I'm married with 2 kids who are mine, and my daughter who is mine but not by blood. I love all of them equally. I learned a lot after I graduated and had to care for her with the help of my parents. She's a bright kid and looks a lot like her mother, which makes me sad sometimes. She even says that we don't look alike, and I tell her she took after her father. I really wish I could tell her the truth. I feel so bad not doing it. I don't want her mother to be forgotten, especially by her own daughter. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Wow, very intense read. I can't imagine what you have been through. I immensely commend you for raising this child as your own. I don't think anything you did is something that you should feel the need to hide, and I can imagine this is weighing heavily on you. Eventually, your daughter is going to want to find out more about where she came from and who her father is. She is old enough now to understand the truth. I have a half-brother that my mother gave up for adoption before I was born. She didn't tell us until I was in my mid-teens, but I always had an inkling that something was amiss. It's hard to explain it, like a piece of me was missing. I wouldn't doubt that your daughter has a similar intuition. Yes, it was hard to learn the news that I had a sibling out there, but I felt no anger or resentment to my mother. Eventually, I began my search for my brother. After 5 long years of searching, we finally reconnected and have been back in our lives since. Finally, having the truth out there has been a huge weight off both of our shoulders. I know that if I was your daughter, I would want to know where I came from. She has a family that loves her. That's what truly matters. That's nice about you and your brother. The thing is that she is not the only one in the dark. The family doesn't know about the story as well. I'm afraid of everyone's reaction to this. I bet they will show you the same love you have shown your non-biological daughter. It would be hard for them to not be proud and love such a great person like you. You are one good dude, Opie. I wish you nothing but the best. Consider to have a private conversation with her. Let her be the first person to know. Let her decide if she wants the other family to know as well. It's her story the most if you decide to tell, and she needs the space to put it together herself first. You two going somewhere private is the best environment. Everybody knowing around her without her agreeing on this would stress her out even more. She deserves to be the one to know first. Explain the entire situation in a letter you give her while sitting next to her could be a good option. That way she can't interrupt the story and completely read your side before asking you hard questions. Also, write down everything you are worried about will happen because you told her. Why should you? You should trust her to tell everything, even if it's hard. It means you give her the truth about yourself and her in the most honest way you can. She may be in shock or angry as to why you mention it now. There's never a good time to tell. She just deserves to know. Her mother was alone, had no family left. She was ashamed of herself and her life. She must have felt something would happen to her, that something was going wrong. She didn't want to be known. She asked you not to talk about her. The saddest thing ever is to make her forgotten. She is invisible now, and she did mean something. She was in college. It just sounds like she tried to make something out of her life, even being at the bottom. Her death could have been prevented. She sure had a very difficult life. That doesn't mean she didn't deserve to be known. Of course, you want to keep her last wishes to the grave, but a relationship for life based on a buried secret, I don't mean to tell her now, but you need to prepare yourself. Maybe gather more information online, like where she was buried, print out things about her mother, pictures. If she's ready after the truth, hand her the envelope because she would want to know more about her biological mother. It would help both if you had it right there. She needs to see the evidence, it's no joke, and see you put an effort to show who her mother was. If she isn't up for it, she can open it anytime she wants. The people around you, if they find out about it, will react in shock as well. They won't hate you. If they can think they respect you for telling her first when she's old enough and not getting others involved into this. Good luck. And now for the updates. I never thought so many people would pay attention to what I posted here. After making the post, my desire to come clean to my daughter got even bigger. And after reading the response to the first post, I just saw a lot of things that I hadn't thought about before. Also, after some time watching her, I knew something was on her mind. I told her the truth a few days ago. My husband took our younger kids to a birthday party, and I said I wanted some alone time with her so we wouldn't be joining them. We were hanging out watching TV, and after a while I asked her if there was something in her mind that she wanted to ask me. She asked about her biological father. I showed her the note my roommates left, and she didn't really understand at first, but then I started telling her what had happened. She cried a lot. It took a long time for her to calm down. I swear it was the hardest thing to do, because I wanted to cry during the entire thing, but it was her moment. She asked me a lot of questions about it. Why I never told her or anyone else in the family, why I was only doing that now. Was I feeling guilty? Was I feeling burdened by her? It took hours to answer all her questions, and to be honest, at this point I was crying too, because I didn't want to hear her question how much I cared for her and how much I loved to have her in my life. It was emotionally draining for both of us, and in the end, she just asked me to do some research on her mom and take her to see her grave. I agreed, and we will plan to visit her grave soon. I asked her if she wanted to tell the rest of the family, and she said it was only fair to do so, but she would do it with me. She did ask for some time to process it, and so far we haven't told anyone else. She has been pretty interested in the situation, and she has confessed me a lot of stuff I didn't know before. She said she used to feel like she didn't belong because she doesn't look like me, but her siblings do. She also said she would often feel like a mistake I made in my life when I was younger. Those and other things really broke my heart. As of right now, I decided to take care of her first, and then bring the rest of the family. I booked an appointment with a therapist to help us both navigate the situation in a healthy manner and help us, especially her, to deal with the feelings that the situation brought to our lives. She has been closer to me than she already was. I feel like she's been more relaxed. And to be honest, so do I. I know I made a promise to never tell her the truth, but it just didn't feel right to let the memory of my roommate die with me when she has a living child, even if the memory is just her name. You are the epitome of a real parent. I wish I could hug you. Your daughter is very lucky to have you. Thank you for the update. OP, I'm proud of you. I'm adopted too, but I wasn't given up. I was taken away. Being adopted is hard, but you did right by your girl. Good job. Just a random thought. Perhaps she could sign to one of those DNA testing sites like Ancestry.com or 23andMe. If a relative of hers is also on the same site, it will show up. And even if no relatives are found, at least she gets some clues about her heritage. Last story is titled, Update. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my adoptive parents to my wedding? Original post. I, a 30 female, am getting married to my fiancé in May. I was adopted when I was a baby, and my adoptive parents' 50s did their best to raise me and support me through college. We always had a good relationship, and I obviously loved them. When I was 23, I decided to search for my biological parents, and long story short, they were teenagers, 14, when they had me. They are still together and they have 2 more children. They said they wanted to keep me, but they couldn't raise me, so they decided to put me up for adoption. The thing that really hurt me was that, in my childhood and teenage years, they tried to contact my adoptive parents and have a relationship with me, but my adoptive parents refused. When I confronted my adoptive parents, they said that they were afraid that I might prefer my biological parents, so they tried to keep them away. I was hurt and disappointed, and decided to go low contact. Over the years, we managed to build a better relationship, but it's not like before. So for my wedding, I decided to ask my biological father to walk me down the aisle, and he obviously said yes. When my adoptive parents learned about it, they were hurt and said that their worst fear had come to reality, and if I insist to put my biological parents before them, then I shouldn't invite them to the wedding. My answer was that they're not invited then. Since then, all my adoptive family are calling me Nahol. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. You're the a-hole. Biggest one I've seen yet. You chose the people who didn't choose you. You completely cut out the people who chose you. They could have adopted anyone, but they chose you. They sacrificed their lives to make sure you had a good one. Karma's real, and you'll get yours. Not the a-hole. You don't owe your adoptive parents anything for raising you. They wanted a child, so they were obligated to provide for you. I'm sure over the years you ask about your birth parents. They chose to keep vital information from you. Once you learned the truth, you went low contact to give yourself time to heal from the pain your adoptive parents caused. It's your decision who walks you down the aisle. Instead of respecting you and your decisions, they requested not to be invited. If they want to be in your life, then they need to accept that your birth parents are a part of your life. They can't dictate who you're bonds with. You're the a-hole. Does your fiancé have an opinion? This is a huge red flag, to be honest. I'd have ran for the hills by now. Poor fella and poor adoptive parents. I honestly feel heartbroken for them. Everyone sucks here. Your adoptive parents for robbing you of a chance to know your bio parents. But I understand their worries. But in my opinion, that's what you sign up for when you adopt a kid. Eventually, bio parents have to become a conversation. You, of course, correcting as hard as you did after you found out. It's okay to be mad, but dang dude, that's tough. You want someone you've known for a few years in comparison to walk you down the aisle versus someone that provided for you your whole life, instilled your values and supported you through college? A time when they legally could have just left you on your own. Honestly, your bio parents aren't really that sucky here. I saw a few commenters say things like, oh, they could have made it work, or oh, their parents could have adopted you, as if children aren't a huge financial responsibility. Your bio parents have alluded to the fact that they wouldn't have been able to put you in college and support you through it, so they did what they thought they had to do to give you and your older siblings a stable chance at life. Minor update. I talked to them and suggested that both dads could walk me down the aisle. My adoptive parents refused because they say that they did all the hard work and they shouldn't have to share the spot. But I told them that I will give them a couple of days to think about it. And now for the update. This will be my last post for anyone who is interested. My adoptive parents are officially not invited to my wedding, and we decided to go no contact. It was an emotional conversation. We cried the whole time, but I think it's for the best. They asked me if I can contact them again when I have a child. Since I was their only child, they won't have any other grandchildren. I said I don't think that's a good idea. I don't know how it could work. They got mad at me. I can understand why. I told them that giving them access to my future child would require contact. Maybe if we ever talk again, we can discuss this. They said I'm ungrateful. Well, a lot of people have said that. I guess I am. That I deprived them of any chance for children or grandchildren because they can no longer have kids or adopt. Then things just got bad. I don't think that we could possibly salvage this relationship anymore. I'm sad, but also happy for the new chapter of my life that is about to begin. Best wishes to everyone. So basically, you are doing the same thing your real parents did. Them wanting to have a relationship with your kids and you not letting them. The difference being they actually want to be there from day one. Unlike your biological parents who didn't want you. Only your siblings because they are the ones they love more and willing to work hard for, and always love more than you. You will always be a mistake, who is a second rate. The difference is that I will also tell my children from day one. Yeah, you have grandparents who love you and want to be in your life. But I'm a selfish loser who likes to abandon people, and I probably would do the same to you once you go against my needs. Must be nice to just replace one set of parents with another and just keep it moving. I wouldn't describe it as nice. You do know you created this entire situation yourself, right? I don't care anymore. I have my own life to worry about. I don't owe anything to anyone. Then no one owes you crap on here. Buzz off if you don't like it.